Sveiki visi, esu Justinas Taruška iš Sales Club Community. Šiandien mes turim pardavimų formuliai labai ypatingą svečią, tai yra daktarą Patricką Dixoną. Jis yra futuristas ir mes pakalbėsime apie jo įžvalgas, kaip atrodo pardavimų pasaulis arba kaip atrodys vėliau. So, Dr. Dixon, it's nice to meet you here and in Lithuania, and also one of the biggest events for salespeople. So, just for warm-up question for me, it's interesting. Your background is from medical side. So, how you move to such future side?
It happened through writing books, not just about medicine, but about politics, technology. Just about everything you can imagine. And after I'd written 10 different books, in 1996, I found that banks were starting to ask me for advice, whether on the dot-com boom, geopolitical risks, technology, all kinds of things. And that is how it happened.
So from your perspective, how do you see the future after COVID? I mean, how does it look, especially with your background, to have even more data than regular?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I warned about pandemics like COVID for years in my books, on my website, in events like this. As a physician, it's been worrying me for a while. COVID will be with us for a very long time. It will become a bit like flu or a bad cold. So we have to think of life with COVID rather than life out of COVID. But the level of disruption will get dramatically less with the latest vaccination programs. And I am hoping that we will develop treatments which are better than vaccines. Okay. The trouble with a vaccine is it takes a year or 2 or 3. You have to vaccinate the whole world. The best thing is to have viral treatments that work like antibiotics. So that if you're sick from flu, colds, COVID, measles, chickenpox, it doesn't matter. You take some medicine. The problem at the moment is we do not have a single medicine that cures COVID. So this has to change. But at the moment, we rely on vaccines. We are getting back to normal now in Vilnius. I am recording this at the end of September. 2021, but I warned the platform just now that we have to take the opportunities before you find another variant comes. Go and see your customers now. Go and see your family. Make the change happen, because even Apple has discovered that you can manage in lockdown, okay, but you can't think, you can't innovate, and you can't change. So those are really big reasons to me.
And what about supply chains? I mean that for international businesses, which are the really global one, and the customers are more like linked to the local communities, buying locally more, even businesses think maybe why to import from China or US, I'm talking about Europe. So what is your prediction about this situation?
Chaos. In the short term. Supply chains in every country are under pressure at the moment. It's almost impossible to find an empty container coming from China to Europe because we're catching up. It's not just that we're catching up through a little bit of disruption. We are catching up with a lot of money which people have been saving during lockdown. In my country alone, I think it's over 100 billion euros that people have been saving. They didn't go to the cinema, they didn't go to concerts, they didn't take holidays, they did not do expensive leisure things, they didn't visit their families.
So for salespeople, then it's easy. You just have to write invoices. That's it?
Well, what's happening is they saved all the money on holidays, they saved all the money on restaurants and meals and experiences, and they're buying houses. Yeah. They are building a room at the back. They are buying new cars. They're buying new washing machines. So what has happened is a lot of money that would have been spent on services where there's no supply chain have suddenly gone into products. What a nightmare. So across Europe, factories are struggling to get pieces of metal and plastic and get them into the lorries and get the containers from China. It will settle down, but it may take till, I think, early 2022.
So what is your prediction? Prices will go up for
Yes.
still?
Yes,
For how
of
many
course.
years?
Everyone
For how many
who is
years?
selling a product,
For how many years?
if there isn't enough product, will enjoy this little bump. But of course, many of their costs are also up, because the cost of steel is up, the cost of wood is up, the cost of concrete is up. So, of course, there will be some inflation. It won't last for forever, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year. But things will settle.
Okay. What about salespeople? They also like more energetic. They want to travel. They want to meet
Yes.
other people. So now they are locked in the Zoom.
They have to get out of the Zoom. If you're sales, you have got to get out of your house, out of your apartment. You have got to get into the car, onto the train, and you've got to go and meet some people as soon as you can. Okay.
So, but what will be for their mindset? I mean, they are used to this.
Yeah.
Businesses can also save on travels.
Yeah.
Some businesses you can do also on Zoom.
Yes, not sales. If you're wanting to win a major contract, business to business, you're not going to do it with someone you've never met.
Yeah.
If you've never met them, I tell you this, you'll be so close, and you'll be saying, Patrick Dixon, he talks rubbish. I'm just landing a 20 million euro contract. And then, the following morning, it's gone. And you know why? Because a competitor had dinner the night before with the client and looked into his eye, and they laughed, and they chinked glasses of vodka, and they toasted to the contract, and they signed it. At the dinner table, while you are thinking on your Zoom call tomorrow, you will have a digital signature. My friends, physical presence is everything when it comes to building new relationships, because the biggest word in the next few years is trust. And that means relationship, friendship, and becoming part of the family of your client.
So for those salesmen who have vaccines, they are more competitive then, because only part of the world can travel a lot. So now it's like a chance for the sales guys to travel.
Go where you can, how you can, and make it count. So yes, it probably means a longer trip. You can't just go in and out of countries now. You're going to go for maybe a week, because you're going to do all the meetings you might do for the next 4 months in 1 week. Why? You don't know if you will be back in 4 months.
Yeah.
And also, the number of tests you have to take, it's just not worth it.
What about Asia then? They are not linked to travel right now, or they are not so welcome, I mean.
That will change. All of these nations, they have to open up, because their economies will suffer if they don't. So it's the same for India. India cannot win major new contracts for, let us say, aerospace without getting on a plane and landing in France and selling a product at a big conference, probably like this one. They have to be there. You're not going to sell a jet engine on Zoom.
Okay.
It cannot happen.
And the last question, what will be your 3 takeaways for B2B salesmen for the future?
Okay, make sure you're really close to your customer, and the little things that matter most, they may not be immediately obvious to you, and you need to watch the video that I give the examples today of them. Okay, lots of them. You need to get that video and watch it, because I gave lots of examples of where you might think you know your customer, but you don't. But the good news is it costs almost nothing to create magic. So this is the thing. It's getting close to your customers, finding ways to make magic in things that matter to them a lot, and make it very personal.
Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
Thanks.